Hi, good morning, Xavier, Donley.
Good morning.
Hello, Sammy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. This is my first ever DCEM call, so thanks for making these public.
Thank you for joining. Hopefully,
Same for me. Huh?
yes, hi, welcome, Xavier. You go by Eric or?
Xavier.
Okay. My feeling is may get low attendance. A couple of people said they're traveling. Let's see. Today, maybe while we are waiting, probably we can introduce ourselves. I'm Sami Nachimuthu. I'm handling this Workstream. I used to work for Intel before. Right now I retired, but still I'm volunteering it. And Nisi from Intel will be taking over in some point.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm Catherine Donnelly. I am an independent sustainability consultant working in the digital infrastructure space. I'm currently doing a lot of work for Compass data centers and across their supply chain. And I'm very interested in drawing more attention to data center efficiency. So happy to join this call.
Welcome, Donley.
So I'm Xavier. I work in EcoCloud at TPFL, and I'm on sustainable matters for IT, both ways. In fact, IT for sustainability and sustainability in IT. So it's also why I'm joining this call.
Okay, welcome, Xavier. Like I said, not sure because I got a couple of notes saying that the regular button and a couple of people are not able to make it. But I could probably give some background on the Workstream, but what we are doing so far, maybe for you to catch up.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. And before I go there, I just want to, it gets recorded anyway, so let me quickly go over the couple of items in the agenda. One thing is coming up is we have a global summit that is coming in. It's in October, but it's been already out for call for papers and presentations. It's due now another month, so I would encourage you guys to submit any presentations that you are interested. And from our Workstream perspective, we would like to present the progress that we have made so far, and maybe if we are able to create two presentations instead of one, we could potentially consider, or we could have a panel. We will have the discussion probably in a next meeting when we have a little more people able to join. And I think we do need to get this abstracts done and submitted in a month. So we have another 4 weeks to work through this details.
Sammy, could you expand for just a moment on the nature of the presentations that are typically accepted for this conference? I haven't attended an OCP conference yet. Are papers on from any contributor about topics which are relevant to OCP work streams open, or is it specifically updates from the work streams?
No, anything. So if you go to the projects here, you see a lot of different projects and work streams going on. Given this is a global summit, any topics that you can figure out, you could probably try. You need to match to some track so that the people relevant in the track have the knowledge, technical knowledge to review your material and provide a feedback or approve it. So I think what you have to choose is, depending on your topic, you need to select the track where you are going to submit. And yeah, it can be anywhere in the topic on the infrastructure or anything related to the open compute, right?
Okay, thank you.
It does not necessarily need to come from the projects or the work streams, right? It can be even coming from company itself, right?
Got it.
And generally, like if it is part of the work stream, that's gets accepted more, because what we have seen is at least 2 to 3 ratios of if you are accepting 10 different presentations, you may get 25 to 30. So we have to reject some of those things, but the criteria we basically say is if it is already presented, at least if it is contributing something to the work stream, then it has a much higher chances for getting accepted, right?
Yes, that makes sense.
Any other questions along that line?
No, thank you.
Okay. And also there is a couple of things. One is the presentations, and also there is a symposium, future technology symposium. There is one more things going on. So it's and also if you want to write any papers, you can write papers also. There's some 2 or 3 avenues here, right? There's a IEEE paper format that you can submit, and also presentations and panels. There's multiple different avenues available for presenting it. So I would recommend case to kind of go through this if you are interested in contributing, start thinking about it right now. And just a couple of things I want to cover. Maybe need some detailed participants here. At least based on the work we were doing, at least for this year, there is one work related to performance per energy. We were doing, I will go kind of review some of the things that we presented in the EM, the regional summit and the global summit for you to kind of catch up here. One work is related to performance per energy that we do. People have a, what do you call, benchmarks and other things, people run it, but we are trying to figure out, is there any unified performance that we can report regardless of what workload you're running on the system? And that's what we are trying to define. Is there any way to represent that? It's still very early stages. It needs a lot more discussions. And what we are trying to see is, can we at least get these 2 things defined in a way that we can say, like, we can make some clear progress here and define that and present it, and maybe have the algorithms and data collections formats probably next year. We're thinking, but we do need to have some more discussions here.
This is especially what I am interested in focusing on by joining, is the definition of a performance per energy metric. So thank you for providing that status update. So what percent progress would you say you've made towards getting that definition, and what are the next steps, do you think, that have to happen?
So right now, what we are trying to harvest is what materials are currently available, publicly presented, or anything that we can get a hands on, so that we can at least start looking at what are the areas we should be looking at it before we put down the definition. That is, I would say it's probably, I don't know, 20-30%, not really like more than that. We put some straw man item of what infrastructure needs. Still, I think the question is, it's okay to put a lot of research material, but what is really going to be adapted that need to be have more discussions here? I would say it's very early stages. It's not like matured.
Mm-hmm. Would it be easy to find the straw man that is under consideration
Yeah,
on the website?
I will go through that in a bit.
Okay, great.
Give
Thank
me
you.
another 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Of course. Sorry to be impatient.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And after defining that, what we want to go down is really like what is the algorithms need to look like, and what is the format we want to collect the data and represent it. That I think also needs much further discussions here. And what is going to be implementable, I think that also we need to have more discussions here.
Okay, when you say performance per energy, so you are comparing the energy that you use both for computing and cooling, I guess.
Yeah,
plus
we have
the
to.
workload you have behind.
So what I said, right? We have you can think of, you have a storage network, just general compute. You could have a GPUs, all kind of computes going on the platform, right? You have VMs, all kind of VMs hosted.
Yep.
What we are trying to see is there any way to normalize it and give one metrics rather than having one metrics for I don't know, network, one metrics for storage, one for a CPU, general, depending on your what workload you're running. Can we normalize it?
Mm-hmm.
If you normalize it, we don't care what workload you're running. You can say this is performance produced by the platform, and here is a power it took it to produce that performance, right? We don't have that definition today. We are trying to see is it possible.
And the energy, the just not that you've defined it yet, but is the assumption that the amount of energy used is only the energy being used by that tech equipment on the rack. It isn't to what Xavier was asking, sort of the total energy profile of the data center itself, including cooling. It would really be more, would we be focusing on just measuring the energy consumed by the IT equipment?
For this one, the only IT, but if you look at PUE and IUE, the definition, I can walk through a little bit. We are covering the complete data center here.
Right.
So you can think of this is a building block. Then you can put all other remaining things, probably it's available. We can marry it to kind of maybe put another definition around that, right?
Makes sense. Thanks for clarifying. Yes.
And the IUE also, it's basically infrastructure utilization efficiency, the way we defined. We defined it, but we are still requiring some text update to the profile so that it's clearly available for everyone to use. I think definition is completed. We want to get the text updated so that it makes it clear for people to use it. And these two currently in the top priority for our Workstream to work on it. If any other things are available, we would like to have a discussion and included in this roadmap. Hi, Rich. Looks like you joined. So then let me go on to the next discussion. I think you guys were asking what we are covering and it's what is public, right? Let me just quickly go through the thing. So if you go to the past events, so the one you can get it here is from EMA Summit. So this is the one we presented in the regional summit. Telemetry and performance metrics role for improving energy efficiency. If
So
you,
yeah, it was with Babak. Okay.
Right. So I think I was not able to make it. So Babak presented. Is a regular attendee in the Workstream here, and it's a lot of people contributed to that. So maybe let me quickly go through the work we have done. So this one, we defined this infrastructure utilization efficiency. So if you look at PUE, it's really looking at all the power coming into the data center, right? Then from there, it is really looking on what is going into the IT infrastructure. And that's how you're really taking the PUE number, right? I don't know whether we need to go into the PUE at all here. Right? And if you want, we have another slide, we can go through that. So here what we are defined is you're getting rack power or power coming to the IT infrastructure. You can think of how much power is used for IT portion, for compute portion versus how much used, wasted in the sense of either thermal power conversion or idle power on those infrastructure, right? If you are really putting a ratio of that, basically like how much power is going for a compute versus how much is total, you're basically saying a ratio between wasted energy here, right? That's what we define, and we said, yeah, you can define it at system level, and also you can define it at rack level, and you can take this and also you can define it at data center level that was presented in the last Global Summit. I think there's more details on the slide, but I'm just giving you a summary of it here. And that one work we have done. The other work we have done is in order to even collect this above things, we need to have all the definitions done in a red-space format and so that we can really get all the data out of the system. That was completed, and the definitions are, if you go to the sustainability profiles, I believe there's a link at the end of the presentation here. Sorry. So if you go to this GitHub, you will see the definition of all the details of the profiles there. After basically completing that work, right now what we are trying to look at what are the, this is for the paper, what we said is what are the roles for played for the metrics. But let us probably ignore that right now. But the thing what we are trying to look next is the performance per energy. And the way we were looking is how much energy is consumed. This just kind of captures how much energy is consumed in the world for data center perspective or running different data centers, right? And this is probably always an evolving number depending on time of the day, what you capture in each countries. And even if you take a US, there is a metrics on each states, how much they're consuming, things like that, right? And then the next thing what we are kind of looking is, even if you have the numbers, right? How are we able to say like how much power is consumed by different parts of the compute, right? You can probably go down to the lowest level where we can say transistor, how much power energy is consumed by transistors. And you can say how much transistors are in your systems, right? And what we looked at it is if you, depending on the fabrication processes, right? A given transistor may consume more or less depending on your the manufacturing process that you have used. Because if you really look at it, right, doing same compute, if you require so many transistors, if the process improves, automatically you get reduced power for doing same amount of compute. And also there is a theoretical limit on how much you can maximum reach. I believe it's part of the paper if you look at it, right? That is one kind of angle. Not, this is not really like representing the performance portion, at least we are looking at the energy portion per performance. One way of looking at it. And the other way we were looking at it is how much I mean how many instructions used for performance you can think of it, right? Can be integer, it can be float, can be integer, can be multiple different type of integers. Similarly, float also can have multiple different types. And each one you can really look from the slides here, right? Even if you take in 4 or into 8 or even anything here, right? Depending on the different implementations, we have seen different energy profile. So what is trying to communicate is, yes, process is important. In addition to, even if you use the same process, implementation of those instructions also important. You may consume a higher or lower energy depending on how it's implemented. The other thing you can think of is, other than that, data movements you can think of can be sitting in a SRAM, DRAM, or it can be off the chip, or you have to move through the wires to get the data stored and retrieved back. So again, all those things are consuming energy. So we have to look at it is how much data movements and how much energy consumed for the data movements, right? The other way of looking at it is, yes, in addition to data movements and everything, even the software and algorithms to do the job also matters, right? If you want to reduce the power energy consumed for doing the work. And this is kind of summarizing it, right? It's yes, materials matters, architecture matters, integration matters, and algorithm, software, everything matters, right? To do a final performance for your whatever the things you want to do and how much energy it's going to consume. And I think all of things you can say like this, it's indicating source. So if you go into the source, you will see a lot more details there. And based on that, what we have concluded here is we do need to make progress on defining all these things, infrastructure, right? How much transistors and what type of technology used? What are the different operations you are using? What is the accesses and the interconnects and the storage, as well as data communication profiles, all these things involved here. But again, we have to define a lot more next level details to really like take it to a level where we can implement and align across the community here. Any questions here?
No, for me, it's fine. It's a great job. In fact, it's super nice to see all those all the gains that we can have, especially on the previous slide. It was clearly explicit, in fact.
I think a lot of work was done by Sadas. He's from Stanford. He joins regularly and he contributed to a lot of work here. We are trying to highlight some of those portions. Still a lot more work really you can see is needed. So that is one you can think of the past one we are looking. If you are looking at little past one, if you can go to the Clover Summit. There is a couple of things the presented from this the Workstream here. Sorry, I think give me. Yeah, this is the another thing, so you can look at it. So this is the same thing that I kind of said on the IUE side. It is trying to go a little more details on what is the PUE and what is it missing out of PUE that is we want to capture in IUE portion of it. And it has a lot more details on why we have to use an IUE and the rack and DCE that I talked about it. And also talks about power and telemetry work this Workstream has done. This has a lot more details on all the JSON format and other things that we are exposing some of the data through RESTful interface. That is another thing you can take a look at too.
Sammy, do you think the 2025 Global Summit update from this workstream will be largely what was already shared in Dublin, or is there work underway to create an even more contemporary or real-time update for this workstream for the October summit?
So given we have 5 more months, probably practically you can at least think of maybe 3 more months we have left to do some additional work. Even though the abstract is due by next month, we should put a abstract that is good enough for us to even add additional materials. I would like to see some additional progress made in this area, or a definition portion that I was discussing before, right? Can we define a little more concretely, like what is this performance per energy means? If you are saying normalized, what did that means? Like we need to have some clear definition penciled out. That is one. The number two is you can see from infrastructure, right? Even when we are talking about transistors and process, it's practical today. Even one chip contains multiple different process technologies and multiple transistor things like that, right? Is it really practical for people to go and have all the information available, or what is the practicality, right? We need to start thinking about it and defining this infrastructure a little bit more mature level, right? I think that's what I'm thinking. If can we get the definition done? Can we define what is needed out of infrastructure? If we do that, then probably later we can go back and define what is the format and other things need to look like, right? And we should start thinking about what is the algorithms we want to use to define. You can think of definition and algorithm format, right? Once we align on a definition, then we can turn into algorithm, right? That's what I was thinking. But I would like to hear from all of you and how do you want to proceed here, right?
You know, the work that's been obviously invested already is well beyond my capacity to digest in this single call, but I know the criticality of establishing this definition because I'm more on the PUE side right now, looking at the infrastructure efficiency. But you know, PUE is not sufficient on its own because we are absent, we are missing the performance per energy, and so. And I've also seen data that compares the energy consumption of these different of the IT versus the cooling versus the embodied carbon coming from the construction. And this is the one that has to be tackled to make the most impact on data center energy consumption. So I wouldn't, my inclination is don't let great get in the way of good enough for a measurement, because a lot of measurements come in, or standards come into being without having the full picture of how you're going to actually get the data. And certainly, you know, before anyone is really prepared to adopt the standard and implement it, the standard has to be defined. And so I think there could be a fair amount of distance between the first two bullet points and the second two bullet points, right?
Right. Yeah, I think that's why I'm thinking like we should say it's 2026. 2026 work rather than spending a lot more time, but we really need to start thinking about what is practicality, right? And I mean, maybe two things, right? What is the theoretical definition? People will agree on it. Then from the theoretical one, what we want to say, it's a revision one, practicality, revision two, practicality, where we can say that can we get some initial infrastructure people willing to implement or agree to implement it, right? Or is there any other way to kind of proceed?
Yeah.
What is the name of that professor in Stanford who did some work on this?
Yeah, I think that the slide I presented here, right? See, part of this, the materials, what you see. So you can, these are all these papers, right?
What is his name?
Sadas.
Can you put
Can you
his
put it
name
in the chat?
Yeah, please,
Yeah, let me put his name in.
Hi, Mr. Sami.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Khalid Morsi. I'm ex-Meta Facility Technical Manager, and this is my first time to join this group. I have one question. I hope this is not stupid question, because I'm just wondering, at the beginning of your slides, you started to mention the efficiency in terms of IT and non-IT, but the rest of the slides is only for the IT matrices, or how to be power efficient in terms of IT. Is there other slides that which is taking care of the facility part or the non-IT part?
It's there's a separate work stream regarding the facilities, right?
Okay,
You look
makes
at
sense. Makes sense. Okay.
there is a DC facility project work stream.
Okay. So this group is only for the IT part.
Not we are looking at because we want to look at a metrics, data center efficiency metrics. But if it is already covered by somebody else, we want to let them complete it, right? Like you can see, like a lot of carbon definitions going on the work streams. If it's already covered,
Okay.
we want to let them cover. And even if you look at, there was a couple of months back, there was a water utilization definition came along, and we reviewed it and recommended, and they started a new work stream now. So if you
Okay.
have something where it is not addressed by anybody, we would like to take a look, and either if it is want to incorporate it as part of this work stream, we want to include it. Otherwise, we want to point you to somewhere else where it's much more relevant for the team to look at it, right?
Okay.
To go and
All
work
right.
with them. Yeah.
Thanks. I'm a bit lost in all these groups, and I don't know how these groups they handshake at the end, you know. So whatever amazing job that you guys doing here for the IT part, how do you guys integrate your outcome with the people taking care of the other streams? So, but thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you.
Khaled, I would add, if you're not familiar with them, to take a look at Infrastructure Basins, iMasons. It's another organization, not too different from OCP, that is entirely focused on the infrastructure side of digital infrastructure and digital infrastructure efficiency. And they have a climate accord, the iMasons Climate Accord, which has an official handshake with OCP on defining some of these standards as well. So there are a lot of handshakes happening, I would say, but
Thank you.
sure.
And I believe there is also, I have seen a slide, I don't know where it is posted. There is 1 or 2 slides really talking about all the different work streams and what is their output and what are the things handshake between the different teams. If I can find something, I can send it to the team here. But I have seen a slide presented before. Like, because there's a lot of things in hardware management, they kind of work with multiple different other teams. Some teams are much more localized.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Thanks.
Any other questions, comment? I'm also kind of looking going forward, like is anybody of you kind of contribute any of these areas or maybe another areas, or what do you guys think?
Well, I would say, Sammy, I mean, you have a few brand new people joining the call today, and
Probably,
you've been the insider leading this for some time. What would you want people who are new to this work stream to know, to think about in terms of their role? What's the best use of the resources that are joining this call for the first time in helping to solve this?
Yeah, I think what I would recommend is I pasted this couple of links for the material that we presented. Let me also paste one more link for the thing that we have done out of this work stream. So if you search for PUE in the contribution database, I will put the link again back here. Give me a minute. So these 3 came out of this work stream. At least yes, output out of the work stream. We are in this one. We are talking about all the PEs and what are the considerations, what is the bottlenecks, and like what the improvements need to be made, without really like going through the actual improvement we are to do, right? So it's a good paper for you to kind of take a look at it and read through.
Wow, that's amazing. Having not, I can't read it that quickly, but
I
just
know, and just
the chapters here, the sections are this is very comprehensive.
I think the next step, I think what you asked about, right? We kind of captured some of the future work that we want to team to start looking at it and probably start spending some time on it. So two things, right? If you are really interested in the performance for energy, that at least some energies, I mean, momentum is going on. We would like you to participate and start providing some feedback or even contributing to the definitions. And the other thing is, if you are seeing some other metrics, we should be considering for the whole community to be useful. We would like to hear from you, maybe what is the problems and what is any proposals available or anything that we want to be looking at it. We would like to hear from you and see how we can really align the team here to contribute define and agree and define and go to the next steps, right?
Are you talking about a different work stream from the DCEM?
No. In DCEM today, we want to look at anything related to data center efficiency.
So this presentation is for DCEM, right?
Yeah, DCEM. That is this work stream.
Yeah.
And it's all coming from the community, right? If anything that you want to, you're thinking or it's useful to be open, we would like to have the discussion and decide whether we want to spend some time to make some progress there, or is it covered by somewhere else? We want to point you to that and say it's covered, it's already taken care. Or if some other work streams should be more involved to get it working there, right? We want to make sure that connection is established so that we can work. So either work is done here or work is done by another work stream, or we decide it's not pursued, right?
Are you aware of IETF Green Working Group?
I have heard that. I have not looked at all the details of it.
They define metrics above and beyond BUE.
Right.
So you can look at these metrics, and I would appreciate your feedback.
Do you have some link that latest one's going on?
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Yeah, we would love to take a look at it. If,
Yeah, because what you are doing is what they are doing.
Mhm. Is that another OCP work group, Hisham?
No,
Or
this is IETF.
okay.
Yeah, I think if it is already done, it's already available.
I will send you the link,
right.
and you can look at all the information. If you have question, let me know.
Sure.
I put it in the chat. For example, Juniper came up with 4 sets of metrics. BUE is one of them, so they have other things. And look at the drafts. Many things you can get from these drafts that you can use to augment what you presented.
Okay, if it is already available, I think.
Yeah, available.
Yeah, maybe if you're engaged, maybe we can probably talk a little bit here. The one thing we were looking is, can we measure during runtime without having additional agents?
I don't understand your question.
No, what we want to measure is we want to measure the performance of the
Yeah.
system. Do we need some special setup, or is it can be measured without any special setup?
Same like BUE.
Okay. So I probably need to go through in details here. Or
Yeah.
maybe it'll be helpful if we can come and present how it is done.
Yeah,
It'll
if I
be
have time, if I first go through it, and if you have questions, let me know.
okay. Okay. That is probably like, can we schedule for next Friday or week after next? Whenever.
I may not be available because I travel a lot. So
Okay.
send me a mail, go through material, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know and I will answer you.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, then there's let's probably think of offline and see like what when is a good time for you to come back and
Sure.
right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think we would like to kind of utilize the all the materials already available. If it is already there, we don't want to duplicate anything.
Exactly.
All right.
And as a starter, look at the draft from Juniper about metrics.
Okay. So you send 2 links here, right?
Yeah. So if you look at the drafts, look at the draft from Juniper.
No. Okay. Sorry. I think it's part of this link itself.
Yeah, if you go through the link, you'll find all drafts. One of them from Juniper. If you can find it, let me know. The draft is by Rick Lee and somebody else.
Okay, I will take a look after the meeting. I think there is a lot of links here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the documents page, I believe. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We will.
I also could share the Green Net workshops in ICC conference.
Okay.
International Conference of Communications.
Okay.
And these workshops are really very successful. The fourth one will be in ICC 2025 in Montreal. If there are many papers that have been presented in all the previous 3 editions of the workshop, and in the new one, in the upcoming one, which are related to metrics, you can find the paper of that workshop in IEEE Explore. You will find many papers, but if I find interesting paper, I will send it to the group.
Yeah, I think that will be really good.
Yeah. I think it is easier for me to send you the papers. Yes.
Because whatever the relevant, because there could be a lot of papers people are not paying attention.
Yes,
We are not getting the focus, right?
Yeah, and IEEE Explore is behind the paywall, so you may not be able to get it.
Right.
So I will look for interesting presentation about data center efficiency metrics, and I will send it to the team.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's 2 things you can think of, right? We do need to figure out a way that people can implement in OCP systems, right? If the models are already available, ready to consume, then we would like to make sure that the sustainability profile points to that models and say like use it here, right? But if we have to define some additional either rate base or some other things to kind of expose some data that is not exposed today, we also want to spend some time to expose the data so that it's getting utilized on OCP systems.
Did you look at the energy efficiency modeling book by Professor Kerry Hinton and others. It's an excellent book. You should get it if you are really into modeling.
The modeling by,
Kerry Hinton.
okay.
Kerry, last name Hinton, Hinton. Let me find out. Find
Okay,
the
I
name.
will.
I have
I-
the book. I read it cover to cover. It's excellent book.
Okay, that's wonderful. I think if
Kerry
it's
Hinton.
somebody did a lot of work, we should utilize that and improve on it rather
Yeah,
than.
he did. He did huge amount of work.
Okay, okay.
I worked with him very closely in many projects.
Oh, yeah, I see the book listed. Okay, I will bookmark it and I will take a look at it after the meeting. Yeah.
Kerry Hinton modeling. Mhm.
Hey,
This
Sham,
is
I
great.
just
Yeah.
put my email address in the chat. I don't think we have visibility to each other's emails, but if you're sending links to materials or sites relevant to data center energy efficiency metrics, then please feel free to include me in your distribution
No
list.
problem. No problem. I send you what? I send you the link to the book, to his book. Catherine? Oh,
Yes.
okay. I will
Yeah,
send you, just send you hello message now.
yeah, I think it's good to have the names here so that it's easier to connect. Yeah, yeah, if you can, so you go by Isam, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have one.
Yeah, if you can find anything interesting material links or even the books or anything, right? Please send a note. I think you can send it to the whole team, whole work stream too, so that people, all of us, can take a look at it, right? I think like I said, right, Sadas was spending a lot of time looking at some of the things, and we were kind of spending some time on kind of augmenting his work. So if you have something already available, it's already defined, ready to go, we would like to adopt it. And if anything missing from our OCP system side, the additional definition needed, like one of the thing is power and element work stream got merged to this work stream now. So we have to define some additional request items or something to expose the data. We would like to take on and work on it to expose the data out of the systems.
So I think Kerry Hinton book really will provide very interesting material.
Okay, okay.
Really, really. You will really love it.
Definitely love to take a look and
Absolutely. It's a must read for somebody who's interested in this subject. It is the
wonderful.
only book around which you go in depth for modeling and including metrics and all this stuff.
Looks
Wonderful.
like
I
a
think
light read. Take
What?
it on vacation. It's a light. It looks like a light read. We can take that on the cruise with us, right? Just a little
No,
vacation
no,
read.
no, it is not light read. It has lots of
Okay.
equations. It has lots of equations. Many equations. Not that
Yes.
easy, but not that no, it's not light read.
No, I know. I know.
For
It's a
for
very
me, maybe for you is light read, but not for me.
no.
so, this one says it's for telecommunication networks, but do they have something for a data center?
Yes, absolutely.
It's the same book or it's a
Yeah,
different book?
same book. Same
Okay.
book.
Okay.
Hey,
Of course,
Sammy, James has his hand up.
Go ahead,
yeah,
James.
I have, but again,
Hi.
back to the professor in Stanford. What he is doing, because I saw him in this week in the general sustainability meeting,
Mm.
but I didn't know that what exactly he is doing that is related to data center energy efficiency.
He's doing a lot of things. He is working with some of the national laboratories and some of the government bodies there. My understanding is he is looking at what are the different factors contributing the power for performance, right?
Ah, and you said he presented the stuff in the last OCP Global Summit?
No, he contributed some of the slides for the one we did in the regional summit. I said this couple of presentations if you look at the link. Part of the materials out of his papers. And all the paper sources are available in that link. If you go down to the link here, right?
Okay.
So
in this presentation, you provide links to his ideas, right? Or his papers.
yeah, you can see from here, it says source, right? IEEE paper and some of the national laboratory paper here.
That's coming from him.
Right, it's coming from him.
Thank you.
It's Department of Energy. This is a one they summarized it.
Oh, you're right.
Right. So this is all public papers available, and still he's working on some new things there too, right?
Thank you. That's great. I really appreciate it.
Okay, welcome.
May I ask
Yeah, go ahead.
a new guy question? Thank you.
Go ahead, James.
On the telecom oriented activities, is there a lot of energy that is proportional to valuable telecom work being performed? Like the idea is there's a bunch of energy that is used just to have the equipment there and being ready to work.
Mhm.
And then there's the variable amount of energy that is it's present, that you can measure when it's actually doing valuable communications work.
Of course.
Okay.
There is
Thank you.
energy and embodied carbon for manufacturing all this equipment, and there is energy and carbon emission related to the operation of the network. But remember, because of lack of energy proportionality, most of the energy is consumed when you boot up these network devices, even if there is no traffic.
Yeah, that's my point. I understand. Let's just stick with operational energy then.
Exactly. Is this group?
Let me ask my question then. I'm sorry that I'm speaking so slow.
Sure.
In general, what seems to be the trend between operational energy that is considered overhead versus the differential operational energy that is proportional to valuable communications work?
Yeah, small.
What's small? Which one is small?
Most of the energy is consumed when even there is no traffic. The energy consumed because of running traffic through the network is smaller than the energy consumed when you just boot up the network devices. Like if you have a router and you boot it up, that consumes the majority of the energy that is consumed by the router. Then when you start to handle traffic, it will consume some energy, but little bit. I have a few presentations about this myself.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have been studying this for decades, so I understand that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you rewinding yourself back a decade or two just to provide a little detail to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this one I believe but I'm showing in the slide here, right? It tries to capture that. What we are trying to say here is, yes, ideal power matters, even it's whatever the device, right? Because if you take one system, even one silicon vendor to another silicon vendor, you can see the ideal power is different. It's all how much power you are wasting when you are not doing the job right. Or if you do a better orchestration where you pack all the works running on a system rather than distributing across multiple systems and only have very small load on the system, it's going to consume more power even though it produces the same output, right?
Understood.
Yeah,
So
but
if we,
yeah.
so this picture for compute with a big green box that's proportional to value, this bar graph might be different for communications, right?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
it
that's
is.
where if you look at that the paper, there is a problems with PUE. There is a paper we published. We are talking about even the communication side. We are saying energy per data movement, right? How many bit energy that it need to be accounted. That also, I believe, need to be looked at it, right?
Yeah, the point is that for networking, it might be much more difficult to evaluate. It depends on the path the communication is taking. So if we are inside the data center, it might be quite easy to evaluate. But between data centers or in between two servers that are each one at one point of the world, it might be much more difficult to evaluate, in fact.
Thank you.
Because
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's where the data movement question comes in, right? How much data you're moving? Is it really like producing performance or not, right?
Yeah, the idea of communication value add, right?
Correct. How you define whether you're moving the data around without doing anything at all, or are you doing some useful job out of it, right?
Well, for communications energy effectiveness, it should track with just communicating is your value, right?
Yeah, it's depending on where you put that metrics, right? Do you put a performance metrics there or just put a communication metrics there, right? There's two different way of looking at it, right?
Yeah, the word performance relative to the communications stack is it? Yeah, thank you. I'm all set. Appreciate it.
Okay. Maybe we should have a little more discussion. Probably we could have, if you can join on the next meeting, we could have some discussions there.
Hey, Sammy, I think
We are
I know we're
top
out
of
of
the hour.
time. I just want to say that I feel blessed to have joined this call where you've given all of us newbies a really great introduction to the DCEM workstream. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for joining, all of you, and looking for all of you to join so that we can continue some additional work here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Sami, for all the inputs you gave, and that was really nice to listen. Thanks a lot.
Good. Thank you for joining. We'll look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you,
Thanks again,
Sammy.
everyone. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
weekend,
Yeah,
everyone.
you too.
Bye-bye.